Now that you have a performance in the system, let's start adding your repertoire. There are four main ways to get pieces into the app and attached to your performances, and I'm going to walk you through all of them. Just like in the last video, I am going to toggle between two different accounts just to show you how to set things up from scratch on a new account versus when you already have some music and performances in your app. So the first way, if you're adding just a single piece, which is also the view to edit any pieces, is to go to Add New and Add Piece, and then make sure Single is selected up here. So I'm going to add Brahms to D horn solo. Let's say the composer is Brahms. I'm going to select the type of excerpt. So when certain piece types are selected, more performance and practice options are going to expand down here, and I'll get to those in a second. Basically, it expands on any piece type that is not an exercise or a routine. Select a length to the piece relative to the piece type, as that's going to come into handy. That's going to come in handy later. I'm going to say that one's relatively short. Now this checkbox here applies to any music that you would like to also keep in your daily fundamentals toolbox, like along with your scales, your lip slurs, and daily exercises. This is not super common, but there are some people who want to sort of excerpt size certain excerpts, so basically turning excerpts into exercises. I'm not going to check that here. So if you expand this green bar here that says technical tags, you're going to see a lot of options relative to your instrument. Select the ones that are showcased in this piece for better or worse. You'll be able to track your trends across these techniques. So if all of your low playing excerpts have a low assessment score, that might be telling you something valuable, maybe something that you didn't know before. So for this one, I'm going to say legato playing, phrasing, and intonation. If I needed to add a custom tag that isn't there, I can do so here. So on the assessment or ratings, don't overthink it. It's a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is basically, I barely know this piece exists, or I can't get through it to save my life. And 5 is, I could play this in my sleep. Your gut read is exactly right. The app is going to track how this changes over time, so where you start matters a lot less than just being honest about where you actually are day to day. So we're going to say that this one is moderate. And now let's say endurance. So the same kind of gut read applies to the endurance demand. While not everything on this page is super important, that length, assessment, and endurance demand are the most consequential. Once you have a ton of upcoming music to work on, you can utilize an endurance slider in the today's practice view to prioritize based on the chops you have that day. Of all of the different spots to track and enter information on this page, the core 3 to focus on are the assessment, the length, and the endurance. These are critical for scoring. So for this one, I'm going to say Brahms 2 is moderate light. Now while you're here, you can link the piece directly to your performance, assuming that performance is already in the app. That's why we started with adding a performance. This is also what connects readiness to urgency. So a piece sitting at a rating of 2 linked to an audition that's 3 weeks away is going to sit a lot higher on your list of priorities than another piece rated as 2 that's months away. You can also link a piece to multiple performances if it appears on several programs. The app will use the closest upcoming date to calculate the urgency. So if there were multiple performances in this account, we could select them here. One more thing worth setting while you're adding pieces is something called practice groups. This is pretty common with folks taking multiple auditions at once and it's just too much music to sort through. You can assign pieces to A day, B day, or even C day, or every day. So having that A-B split can let you split your repertoire up so you're not trying to touch everything every single day. And you can customize this to more or different options, different names. And then that everyday option is for the excerpts or pieces you just know you want to touch, even just for a minute every single day, no matter where it sits in the priority. So here I'm going to say that this is an A-day excerpt. And it's not a priority piece for me, but priority flags pieces that need a little extra attention for whatever reason aside from the assessment. And these will be highlighted in your daily practice list. So not going to check priority, not going to check practice every day. I'm not super worried about it, even though I've given it a 3 out of 5. Lastly, in these last two spots, you can use notes to set any practice notes, any reminders, anything that comes up over the course of practice related to this excerpt. This view is also the edit view for a specific piece, so you can go back and add notes here. Character is basically exactly that. What musical character do you want to portray in this excerpt? So I'm going to go ahead and add piece, and now that is showing up as my number one priority in my daily practice because it's my only piece so far. If you're setting up the app from scratch with multiple pieces, you can use the batch add option or the PDF import. For both, you can enter several pieces quickly and then go back and fill in the details like technique tags, A/B day, priority, in the same view that we just used. To manually add in bulk, click Add New, Add Piece, and select Multiple. Assign whatever performances, and fill out the information. Now, if this same piece is on the list elsewhere, in a different excerpt maybe, instead of entering all of that information all over again, I can just click Duplicate, and I can change this, change anything here that I need to adjust, and go from there. I can also just add rows for blank rows, or I can keep clicking these duplicate buttons so that this information is inherited. When I'm done, I'll click Add Two Pieces to Library, and now these will pop up in my today's practice priorities list. And as you can see, the ending of Till Eulenspiegel has moved up to the top of my priorities. This is based on that assessment. Now, if you already have a rep list as a PDF, like an audition excerpt list, you can import that directly. The app will pull in all of the piece titles and performance infos and let you fill in the rest. This is by far the fastest way to get set up if you do have an existing list. It will match everything to a performance that you've already added, or it will create a new one from scratch. To do this, go to Add New, Add Piece, and select Import PDF. From there, you'll click to select a PDF and upload whatever PDF you wish to upload. This usually takes about 5 to 10 seconds for the app to parse out all of the relevant info. Please be patient. For now, I'm just going to play around with the sample data to show you how this works. So you can see immediately it has determined what the performance is, and it's going to create a new performance with that information. If this was for a performance that I've already manually entered into my performance library, a big bar would appear up here at the top saying, hey, this matches something you already have. Do you want to connect the two, or do you want to create a new performance from scratch? Since it's not matching, it's already creating a new one. Down here, it is finding pieces that are already in your library or possibly already in your library. So in this first section, it says, hey, this one is almost word for word the same. It seems to be exactly the same piece. Is that cool? And if it's not the same, you can click not the same, create new instead. And then this next section is possible matches. So for this one, the rep list said Beethoven Symphony No. 3, Movement 3 Trio, but your library already has Beethoven 3 Trio, probably the same. We're going to click Yes, Link to Existing. Now down here are all the new pieces. So these are the pieces that were on the list that do not yet exist in your library. It already parsed out the composer, the piece name, and the type of piece. In assessment, length, and endurance, these are all the default values, and it is up to you to set them. And remember, as I said in the last video, these are the core 3 fields that the app needs you to actually put info in so that it can prioritize your list accordingly. If you need to change anything here, you're welcome to. You can rename pieces or anything like that. A lot of audition lists will have multiple solos, and it's up to you to choose which solo. You don't have to do all of them. If that's the case, you can just X out, and it will remove whatever piece you do not want to upload. Once everything here looks good, click Confirm Import, and these will all be in your library. And finally, the last way to add pieces to a performance applies to adding pieces that were already in your library previously, either attached to past performances or pieces that you've uploaded but never attached to a performance. The way to do that is to go to the performance that you wish to add these to, click on it to expand, and then just simply click Add Rep here. You can search to filter out, and then just simply select the ones you want to add and click Done. Now these appear in that performances rep list. You can see here over at the right, there are assessments. These are based on the last time you assessed these pieces. These ones that say nothing out of 5 mean you have never yet assessed the piece. So you probably have noticed that some of these methods have more information than others. Mainly the single entry has the most information. That doesn't mean that throughout all of the other methods you shouldn't add your A day, B day, and your technique and stuff like that. Those are all optional traits to add, but it is good to go back in time and edit them where you're comfortable doing so. Again, the core 3 are the assessment, the length, and the endurance. You can use 90% of the app with just those 3. But it is very worth your time to go in and select which technique elements apply to each excerpt and so on. To do so, go to Library, Repertoire. You can use these filters here to filter out whatever you want to look at. So maybe you just want to look at the music for this Pawnee Philharmonic audition. It's just these 4. Now I know that, or these 5 rather, and now I can click the pencil icon and I'll go to that page that was the initial setup page for the single. Anything I want to change here or add, maybe change a different technique tag, click save, and now that's done. So in the next video, we're going to finally get into how to use the app day to day to get the most out of it.